Good Shabbos, everyone. This summer, my family went to Williamsburg, Virginia, to visit my daughter Noah at her college, William and Mary. Williamsburg is a historic, beautiful, rural community in southern Virginia. And on our first evening, we were having a great time. Just a fun night out, enjoying some quality time at a popular local hangout. That night, there was a large game of bingo going on with over 300 locals, college students, families, tourists. The bingo caller, every time certain numbers came up, he would down a beer. Let's just say he was more Bourbon Street than Bar Mitzvah. The bingo game was called Baddies and Daddies. So we were having a blast with our adult children, just enjoying each other's company, playing a ridiculous game of bingo with hundreds of people. But as people were heading out and dropping tips in the bingo caller's jar, the bingo caller grabbed the microphone and said to the entire room, "Now don't be Jewish, make sure you tip me." Talk about ruining the mood. In my 53 years, I've never heard such a purely anti-Semitic statement said so openly in public. I couldn't believe it. To make it worse, no one blinked an eye. Not the bartenders, the manager. No one seemed to be bothered. The only people that were my 5 family members. We stood motionless for a few seconds, which seemed like an eternity. Did he really just say that? Unsure what we should do. My sons looked to one of their parents to take the lead. My daughter, she likes to go to this bar often, so she just wanted to get out of there. Lisa, she was ready to go take care of that bingo caller. I stopped her. I said, "Let me handle this," having no idea what I was going to do. I'll come back to what I did in just a moment. Because, my friends, that story, as upsetting as it was, pales in comparison to the unfortunate tidal wave of anti-Semitism flooding our American culture today, especially online. I know many of you see it, especially our young, our teens, who spend more time than many of us do on social media. The wave of hate-filled videos and posts on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube never seem to stop. Here's one horrific example. You may have heard about it. Just a few weeks ago, an episode of the Fresh and Fit podcast, one of the most followed shows among young men in America, featured one of the most vile anti-Semitic conversation I've ever heard. A female guest on this show claimed that we were responsible for the Holocaust, describing Hitler as someone who was trying to save the world. She pushed the conspiracy that Jews control the United States government, saying we were the reason society is collapsing. Another guest took it even further, openly advocating violence against Jews, saying we got to go kill them. And what did the host, Myron Gaines, do? He laughed, he nodded, he encouraged it, no challenge. Now, this wasn't just a backroom rant. It was a polished, monetized show with over 1.5 million subscribers. And that clip went viral. It was watched by millions before finally being pulled. Now, I wish I could tell you this was an isolated incident, but you know that it's not. For years, these particular co-hosts have discussed the Jewish question, a term they use to justify genocide. Or they played the sound of a cash register going cha-ching when discussing Jewish people. And Fresh and Fit, this horrific show, this embarrassing show, is part of a large network of shows that mix Jewish conspiracies and white nationalism, full of the worst that humanity has to offer, white supremacists and Holocaust deniers, haters like Candace Owens, a blatant anti-Semite, who has also justified Hitler's actions, yet is still openly embraced in mainstream culture. She's praised as a brilliant podcaster, someone who isn't afraid to raise controversial topics. But what are those topics? Holocaust revisionism, vilifying Jewish influence, accusing Jews of dual loyalty. For too many, open anti-Semitism is disguised as, quote, courageous commentary. And the far left is no better. Figures like Hassan Piker, a popular Twitch streamer, frequently spreads lies about Israel, and yet he was featured in a major story by the New York Times earlier this summer. Others, like Jackson Hickel, have said Hitler was trying to protect the world from the Jewish elite. These people are repeating dangerous lies about our people to millions throughout the world every single day. On our congregational trip this summer, I saw a chilling reminder of how lies, how propaganda can fuel violence. At the Photography of Terror Museum in Berlin, located on the former site of the Gestapo and the SS, I came across a quote attributed to Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's minister of propaganda. He said, quote, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. He prided himself on that. And that's what he and the Nazis did. They continued to lie about the Jewish people until people believed it. And that quote has stayed with me ever since, because it's not just history. It's a warning. Lies about Jews, about Israel, are still being repeated today with dangerous consequences. Lies repeated so often, they begin to sound like truth. Hatred dressed up as commentary. Anti-Semitism masquerading as honesty. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. So back to that bingo game in Williamsburg. The bingo caller was easily 5 times my size, so I really was not sure what to do. But my kids were watching, and after a trip to Germany and Poland, how could I not say anything? So I went up to him, looked him in the eye, and calmly said, we're Jewish. What you said isn't cool. How could you say that? He paused, and then suddenly nodded and said, you're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I won't do it again. I thanked him. I put up my fist to give him a fist pump. I thanked God, and that was it. It was that simple. Now, I don't know if he'll remember that I came up to him, and after so many drinks, to be honest with you, I'm not sure he'll remember anything from that night. But I'm glad I said something. Perhaps that's what we all must do, every single one of us, in our own way, in the small moments and in the big ones, knowing that it won't always be as easy as it turned out for me that night. But right now, do we really have a choice? We have to confront Jew hate when we see it. We can't assume it will just go away. If we don't say anything, who will? We can no longer be afraid. When someone makes an anti-Semitic joke or comment, even if they don't mean anything by it, say something. When someone reposts Holocaust denial or makes false claims about what Israel is doing in Gaza, correct them and report the post. When our children hear hateful things in school or on social media, don't brush it off. Teach them how to respond with facts, with pride, and with strength. When elected leaders on the far right or the far left tolerate or excuse anti-Semitism, let them know that you see it. And when media platforms give megaphones to hate against Jews, call it out, cancel subscriptions, speak to advertisers, use your voice. Each of these acts may feel small, but they're how we push back. Silence makes space for lies, but courage, your courage, makes space for the truth. Because in the America of 2025, we no longer have the luxury of silence. If we challenge the lies each time we see them, we protect our community, the world we hope to shape, and we protect our children, our precious young. we can make a positive difference. And what a better world it would be. Whether it's in a bingo hall in Virginia or on a podcast with millions of followers, can each of us, every single one of us, no matter our age, no matter our place in life, can each and every one of us fight against anti-Semitism every time we see it? Because the only way we push back is by standing up, speaking out, and refusing to let the lies go unchallenged. Shabbat shalom.